Just again for the record, Mr. Burton, you are with us via internet, is that correct? Mike, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, I just want to make sure before we move forward.
Sure.
We will call the Grant County Board of Commissioners to order Monday, July 6th at 10 a.m. And just informational piece, as of Governor Holcomb's executive order number 20-34, he has extended the state of emergency with a sunset of August 3rd at 11:59 p.m. Therefore, as we continue to work, we are under that state of emergency with he and the Indiana Board of Health. Therefore, they are encouraging continued employee checks with temperatures and tracking. At this point, I don't believe we have to track the influx of citizens coming in, but we will confirm that with the powers that be in Indianapolis and adjust accordingly. We also realize that because of that extension of the executive order, we are allowed to do any public meetings via WebEx or another internet-based meeting, because we don't want to expose individuals needlessly to the potential of the coronavirus. And we will follow through with that during this month. So the commissioners' meetings, the drainage board, and the county council, and the joint council commissioners meeting will be available as well on the internet. There is a strong recommendation with this new executive order to wear masks in all common areas at work and in the marketplace. We just want our citizens to be aware of that. As we continue to ebb and flow with this coronavirus situation, we will update the media as much and as quickly as possible. And thank you for your patience, because things change hour to hour. We thank you for your patience with that. So we are ready to move ahead with our agenda. And first thing on our agendas, we have a prayer and pledge of allegiance. I would ask you to stand with us. We will. I will lead in a prayer and then ask Commissioner Mowry to lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Gracious God, Heavenly Father, as we take moments this morning, we thank you for our community and for all those that are a part of it. Challenges we face not only with health issues, but the issues of our world, our times. We ask for your divine direction and guidance. We thank you for your love and your mercy that endures forever. As you convey that to us, help us to convey that to others. Thank you for your help, wisdom, and all that we do here this day, and for the people of this community. Pray it in your precious name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. In following the rules, just to keep us going with a head count, because technically we shouldn't have more than 25 in the room. Lots of folks are wearing their masks. Thank you for that. And we will go on to approval of current claims, minutes, and payroll. I think we're going to forgo the minutes right now. We have a batch of them that we're working on. But under claims and amount for review, under June 22nd claims, I see a report of $104,298.60 in the general claims. The other batch of claims, $16,364.84. The only batch would be $362,288.54, for a grand total of $482,951.98. Also in pre-approvals, we have a single approval on June 17th, for Bowman Construction, related to the central dispatch work in the amount of $15,192.38. The other pre-approval was on June 29 in the amount for general of $132,277.99. The other batch was $10,712.07. The highway batch, $129,193.80 for a grand total $272,183.89. Those are the items that are pre-approved by the president and need ratification by this board.
I make a motion to ratify those claims.
I will second.
I have a motion from Mr. Mowry to ratify those pre-approvals. Mr. Burton has seconded. Were there any questions on those items, sir? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those pre-approvals are cared for. And now we have the July 6th general invoice edit reports. General batch number is the $155,205.74. Other batch, $74,928.14. And from the highway department, their batch is $201,252.44 for a grand total of $431,426.32. We need a motion to approve those batches.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Ron Mowry has moved to approve the July 6th invoice edit reports as presented. Mike Bergman has seconded. I don't believe we have any questions on that, so we're going to say all in favor of paying those bills, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried 3-0. That would care for our invoice edit reports. I believe we do have a payroll number 13 that was pre-approved on June the 24th. That was in the amount of $514,028.47. So we do need to ratify that pre-approval.
I make a motion that we ratify.
Second.
Mr. Burton has moved to approve the pre-approval, ratify that, and Mr. Mowry has seconded that. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried. All right. Gentlemen, in your packets, we have receipt of the weights and measures report. We have an annual weights and measures report. And if we can receive both of those at the same time, I think that would be appropriate.
I would move to approve both the report and the annual.
I'll second.
Motion with support. Do you have any questions, comments before we go on? See Mark in the room. Right, hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried 3-0. We have received not only the monthly report from May to June, but also the annual report from June of last year to June of this year. With our thanks. We also have a monthly report from the Clerk of Courts sent over by Pam Harris, and we need to receive that as well. I would entertain a motion to receive the clerk reports report.
So moved.
Mike Burton, moved it. Mr. Mallory has seconded. Any questions on that for Pam? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried 3-0. And we are ready for communication and board updates. Are there any elected officials in the room? Going on the agenda that there's Bob. Bob, EMA director, if you'd step up close to this main mic here, that way anybody on the internet can hear you well.
Sure. Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
So the EOC has been in operation for 117 operational periods at this point. We're monitoring all the situation with coronavirus. So daily, we get updates from the health department. We monitor those numbers that came in. For the last 6 weeks, we have remained flat at about average of 4 cases per day. So, you know, the idea in the beginning was to flatten the curve. We've absolutely done that. Wish we had 0 cases, but we're maintaining at 4. The hospital did report this morning that they are seeing a decrease in their census as far as coronavirus people that are require hospitalization. So that is a positive sign as well. That's really pretty close to what the state is doing. I mean, we've stayed pretty much in average with what the state has done. Moving forward, we'll continue to monitor that daily, as we have been. A couple of things that we're looking at, particularly this week with the heat. We want to make sure that we're supporting St. Martin's and the shelters and some of those other places too that they require some extra support this week. As far as the coronavirus goes, we're maintaining. We are working on a reserve PE. Should we see another surge in the fall, and really just we're still replenishing what we used back in March. So making progress. The state has basically cut off any future shipments to us. So anything left now we'll have to focus on. We're looking at that.
Didn't ask at the 9 o'clock meeting, have we put in a request for another container of sanitizer here?
We have not. I still have half the one that we have, not more than half, but we have quite a few already packaged in gallons, and the tote itself is at half. They did tell us, they reported last week, we get a state call every week. They did report that the state is out of those currently.
Okay. For reserve's sake, as soon as they let us know.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, the price is right. Anything else? No. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Right. Any other elected officials, board special committees?
Mark, I might just make note that the State Board of Accounts is ready to begin their annual audit of county records. It's going to be a little different this time. It's going to be more of a virtual off-site audit approach, it sounds like, just because of this virus situation. So just to let you know that's underway. You may be aware we have an entrance conference coming in sometime here. But anyway, that process is underway this time.
Right. We will go on to IT report. Oh, he's smiling. Oh, yeah.
There's something asking for anything, right?
Well,
Keep us around.
well, absolutely. I got 3 items with me today. They're basically they're formal approvals. We met with Judge Spitzer a couple weeks ago. You guys were involved. They discussed the need of a portable courtroom solution. So we were able to get that all built, put together. So this is the formal approval for that. So this includes the mixer, all the equipment, the whole portable rack, and the software and all that stuff. So the total for that is $10,827.98. And I was just gonna pay for that out of, part of it was gonna come out of the FTR fund that we have, and the other half would come out of the equipment.
Of course, this is all reimbursable.
Yes, because it's a COVID-19 purpose.
Yes, and again, just for Mike, I don't know if you were aware of this or not, but in meeting with the judge, they have a protocol that they have to meet. They have to comply with CDC standards as well. With jury selections, we're actually going to have to go off-site for a secure location and have work done there because we don't have enough space in the courtrooms to actually do that. So that's why the purchase is necessary.
Just a
Okay.
clarification from my perspective too. You're going to use current general fund appropriations to pay for it.
It's gonna come out of our budget.
General fund.
Yeah.
General fund.
Oh, okay, yes.
General
Yes, sir.
fund, okay, so.
Yeah.
And it's going to be reimbursable. Is that something about is EMA reimbursement is going to be dealing with as far as reimbursement, or is that separate? You know,
The board has an option of an $80,000 grant, whether we pursue it in that vein or whether we just put it under the CARES Act. We're still trying to do it.
Okay, just want to make sure as we do that reimbursement, because we'll move, get reimbursement, we'll move the transaction out of the general fund through the grant. So make sure we're all in the loop.
Yeah, so any purchases we make towards COVID-19, I usually print off like a digital version. I keep a folder of them. So that way, depending on how we want to pursue getting reimbursed, I'll have all those files.
That's the key. I just want to make sure we're all on the
Yes.
same page so that when it comes time for reimbursement, we can move those transactions to where it needs to
Right.
go at that time.
Absolutely.
So that's one request.
That's one out of three. That's the biggest one.
Do we want to hear the rest of his request, or do we want to act on this first? Let's just hear them all.
Oh, okay. So the second one is for 6 additional laptops. We bought 10 extra laptops this year for users to be able to work from home. That's worked out really well. We currently have 4 left. And I know we did some discussions with you and talked about just trying to have our reserves around 10. So that was the decision. So we went ahead and ordered 6 more laptops in the event, if there is a second wave, we'll have more devices to hand out to people to work from home. So there was 6 HP laptops with warranties, and the total cost for that was $6,060.
As we were discussing, I encouraged our IT to go ahead and forward because we were in a kind of a lurch there at catch-22. We had people making requests, and we were still holding back some of those laptops because we just didn't know the depth and length of this coronavirus pandemic. So we do need some laptops on reserve for those who still might have to work from home in the future. So it's on my recommendation. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
What was the last one?
Well, the last one is for the EMA office, I believe it is the color printer. So that way they could take that with them, I believe in the command bus, if I understand correctly. So that way they can print off files, that sort of thing. So I think right now when they're going places, I guess they've been using, I guess there's been equipment there that they've been using. So there was a need that was brought to, I believe it was Kevin's attention, went ahead and ordered it. So that way, this is just the formal approval for that.
Right, and again, the command bus is used by law enforcement, any of the public safety, fire, EMS, and right now we've been using the command bus as a point of focal point for some of the testing that we've been doing regarding coronavirus. And so they need to be able to print off things right then and there while on location. So it just makes sense that
then this also has the capability of making copies as well, so they'll be able to do that.
And what was the,
Yeah, so the cost for that, we would decide to just go ahead and buy it outright instead of adding it to our lease. It includes for gear and all that stuff, and the total is $823.
so currently, I'm just running down the list with the solutions for the courts, $10,827.98.
Yep.
Laptop purchases $6,060.
Yep.
And then the color printer for the EMA mobile command bus at $823.
Yes. Yep. That's what I got.
Again, those are all coming out of your
Yeah,
budget items right now until we do reimbursement.
that is correct. Yes.
I would make a motion to approve request for IT.
I will second.
Second by Mr. Burton. We thank you for that. So we will vote in one setting here for the solution for the courts, the additional laptops, and the EMA color printer, as previously mentioned. Any further questions, Mike or Ron? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried.
That's it. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Oh, sure. In an unrelated matter, your request, I'm speaking with the sheriff Friday, and he's being required as a result of using the jurors and court-paid people. He's being required to provide security, transportation to these people, and at 4 or 5 different locations, you might say. I just think it's something we should be prepared for. He's going to have some help with that.
Right. Yep. That's definitely going to be some extra work.
We can also add some kudos to the IT department. They have been running ragged trying to accommodate the things that are going on with the court, sheriff's department, our health department, and all of the components of this pandemic, as well as just trying to take care of us and keep the building running. So, good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last but not least, on our informational items, we have the highway department comments.
First thing I was going to bring up is I gave you the results of the salt bid the last meeting. And I went back and contacted the 2 companies that I did not get a notification from. Basically, their email got caught in my spam. So that's the reason why I didn't get the results. So I contacted them, got their information. Actually, Detroit Salt was the lower bidder. I think the last time I told you, Cargill was the amount of $86.80 per ton. Detroit Salt was low at $79.73 per ton, so quite a bit of a savings. And the treated was $99.31 with Cargill being a low bid on that. So I've already notified Detroit Salt that they would be accepted if that's all right for a low bid for 2020 season in 2021.
Any dissent on that? We can approve that by common consent if you're willing, gentlemen.
That's a considerable saving, though.
Right, yeah. Last year we paid $91.45 per ton, so quite a bit of a saving, well, $12 to $13 per ton.
Mike, is that all right with you if we just consent to go with Detroit Salt?
Yes, that's fine.
All righty. By common consent, we will go with Detroit Salt then.
The next thing I was going to bring up is I have a company called Clean Fuel National. They're based out of Keystone, Indiana. About 10 years ago, the highway department had them come out and clean our fuel tanks, and we need to get ours cleaned again. They sent us a sample. This is the on-road. Just every so often, we need to get it clean. Just to keep everything out of it.
That's our sample.
That's our sample from our tank. If you remember, we purchased 2 new tanks last year. Those are not as bad, but this is the on-road that we did not replace. We need to get it. I have a price of cleaning it. This one time, this is to do all 3 tanks because he recommend even with a new tank, you should have it cleaned. The amount for that is $7,131.64. Like I said, this is a one-time cleaning this year. They actually have a 3-year contract. I say a contract, but if you're not happy with their work, you don't have to have it done the next year. That they'll come out twice a year, clean all 3 tanks, and change all 3 filters on all the tanks twice a year for the amount of $5,616.65. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and have it cleaned right now, and then next year, beginning in the spring and then in the fall, go on that contract kind of agreement that they do it twice a year for the next 3 years. If we're not happy the first year, we don't have to do it again. All the time we're not happy with the amount for.
Well, I would say that affect the victors.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a must.
Yeah. That's what I was telling Ron earlier, that, we've got 30-some vehicles that's pulling fuel out of there. Just $5,000-$6,000 compared to a $180,000 dump truck. So it would be beneficial.
But as we're, kind of wrapping this up in fall, should we go ahead and approve that, $7,131 for a first time event, and then just ask them to send us a contract that we can start, going with our attorney, making sure he comes through all that, and then start the process instead of waiting till next week. So, again, that's coming out of a particular budget item that you're.
I was going to pay it out of contractual services out of the highway.
Right. Is that good for you, sir?
Yes.
Mike, would you allow us by consent to go ahead and let David get those tanks
Yes.
cleaned? Thank you.
Yes, I agree.
All right. What else, David?
Next thing I would bring up is, excuse me, this is a contract with NDOT for Bridge 254, DES number 1802916. The amount with the contract, that 80% the state's going to give us is $1,659,680. So this is a contract with the state. Of course, it has to be signed with blue ink if you might approve it.
And so our part is about 360,000.
Right. I believe 364,000 if I remember right when I did my numbers. So that's
And
20. That's 20% of it.
This is something we've already approved, and we need to formally approve this today.
We need to formally approve it.
All right.
Pennsylvania Street Bridge over the river. This will be redoing the whole deck, everything. We'll leave the main structure, but all the deck will be replaced.
Did you catch those figures, Mike? Approximately $1.6 million that the state will be giving us on the Pennsylvania Street Bridge repair, and we would be investing about $360,000 of our dollars.
Yes, thank you.
I would entertain a motion to approve the contract.
So
Motion by Mr. Mowry,
Second.
And Mike seconded. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried. He just didn't know what to do tonight. My own blue pen, but he did. I don't get it. Like Homeland Security blue and sign contracts.
That's right. I guess I'll go ahead and bring this one up too. This is for the inspection on the project. BF&S was the #1 client for doing the inspection. I'm not going to say the amount because they basically base the amount off of 15% of the total projected what it's going to cost. So I'm not going to say if you want to, you're looking, but I'm not going to say the amount. This is with BF&S, and then the state approves it if they accept it. So they've already looked at it. They don't have a problem with it. As long as you accept it.
So basically, I mean, we got numbers there, but if we come under, their fee is under projection. If we go over, there's an overage.
Yeah.
Right, so we do have a agreement with Butler, Fairman, Seifert, sorry.
Yep.
And they will be, have they already done engineering work, or is that still?
No, that's all done.
It's all done.
Pretty much everything's completed. It's supposed to go to bid March 21st of 2021. So this is just the inspection part when they do the construction.
For their inspection, okay.
Yeah. All the right of ways been completed. All the designs pretty well done. The state's just
Need a motion to approve our agreement for inspection with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert. Is that right there?
close enough.
There is a motion. Ms. Burke, you want to second that? I think I heard you.
Yes, second.
Thank you. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. And we will sign this, and with your permission, Mike, we will use your stamp.
Yes, that's fine.
While you guys are signing, I'll just have another one. So this is for, that's enough. This is for part-time inspection for Bridge 82 and 606 with United. This is the concrete overlays that the state's going to help pay half of for the community crossing grant. This is just an inspection, partial inspection. It's not full-time inspection. For both bridges, the amount is $22,800. That's, they just do periodic inspection, like when they pour the concrete, do other things like that.
Who's that awarded to?
United Consulting Firm.
They'll monitor the project.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and like when they pour the deck, they'll be there.
All right. We need a motion to go into a contractual relationship with United Consulting. Again, that's Bridge 82 and Bridge 606.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mowry, second by Mr. Burton. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Just for the record, this is the one that we already approved.
Yes.
And,
Yep. Because we actually saved money by putting, bundling those bridges together. Right.
How many you spend?
This is our chip seal program that we did for 2020. We did approximately 100 miles. We completed it on June 25th, and total cost was around $650,000. Just to kind of give you an idea where we were at, what roads we did, and everything else. We did Liberty, Green, Franklin, Sims, Richland, and Pleasant Township this year. So
The idea was anything west of State Road 9 would be worked on this year, everything east next will be next year.
so far it worked out pretty good. Like I said, we did 100 miles less than 4 weeks. So and what else? We did get the log jams cleaned underneath Branson Street and Washington Street. And hopefully either this week or next week, we got to do one on Pennsylvania. Working on that. I think I have one more. Sorry. Yeah, I've got all the community crossing grant money with NDOT, the $186,260. That's for Bridge 93. I've got that all taken care of and ready. Did the budget, handed that in last week to the auditor's office. Local road and street was right around 500,000. Recycle center was right around 136,000. MVH fund was down to like 2.7 million. Almost 100,000. Numbers they gave us for.
You're telling folks he's buying more gas.
Yeah, go to drive somewhere. I don't And then the bridge was 1.2, and I pretty much spent most of that to make sure that we better match for all the projects this year and next year to make sure we get all the projects. And I'll try to get you a list before next meeting on every bridge there is. We might want to think about holding off on that bridge on 10th Street, where they want to do that walkway program. I'm going to contact him and see if they ever got approved on that grant. The simple fact is we've got a bridge out on South and East that I've still got closed because it's got a hole in the deck. Shifting our efforts towards that instead of this one for right now.
We'll assess with the city of Marion and get back to us.
Right. And like I said, I don't know if they were awarded that grant or not. So. The community crossing grant for 2020, the second round that they were going to submit, I guess they have put that on hold for right now. Seeing what everything's going to happen with the money. It was supposed to applied in July or August, but now they've got it go back till September. That's what we was going to do with Washington Street. So as soon as I hear something on that, I'll let you know.
Other questions for Dave?
I did have a comment. I think it's good that you're doing what you're doing with the city of Marion on billings, and it's great that you're going to be able to use that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So that's a win-win.
If it says free, I'm at work. So.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, we have nothing registered under old business at this time. We will move to new business. And Larry Strange with the area plan has a couple of items for us. Don't mind coming right up close to the mic, Larry.
Good morning. We have two items. The first is a resolution by the commissioners amending the area-wide zoning ordinance. This is a text amendment, and just as a bit of background, the purpose of this amendment will amend the ordinance so that the town of Jonesboro and the city of Jonesboro, they are, I don't know how to say this, withdrawing their right to waive inspection. So in our ordinance for our building permits, Jonesboro and Matthews, people in Jonesboro and Matthews can waive inspections they come into our office, they get a permit, they say, we don't want any inspections, they sign a form, they hand it to us. That complicates life for us because, we've got permits across the county. In an attempt to make our ordinance, everything more unified, we've approached the communities. Matthews did not want to participate at this point, but Jonesboro did. So they opted to, we put into place a text amendment to amend the ordinance. Now, this was adopted by was recommended by the Planning Commission in February, I believe, or December of 2018. And in February of 2019, the city of Jonesboro did adopt this ordinance. Now, the reason I'm here today is because state code basically says that when a text amendment to the ordinance goes through, it comes to the Plan Commission for a recommendation, either favorable, non-favorable, or null, like many of the things we bring to you guys. And then it goes to the local jurisdiction for action. So in this case, the Planning Commission gave it a favorable recommendation and went to the town of Jonesboro. They approved it. It was recorded in the county recorder's office as an approved thing, and it did not come to the commissioners. And most everything we do either has all the communities involved plus the unincorporated counties. So this was a unique item in that it was only the city of Jonesboro acting on it, so it didn't come to the commission. I didn't really realize that if it doesn't come to the commissioners, it doesn't get into the book, the code book. It's actually still enacted, but it's not in the physical language, it's not in the code book. So one day I was reading the code about something else and I noticed, I thought that was supposed to be in there. So I went to Jim and he advised me that unless it's adopted by the commissioners, I may say this wrong, but unless it's adopted by the commissioners, it doesn't get into the code book. So we conferred with Kyle, being the commissioner's attorney. Kyle suggested a resolution. So that is what I have in front of you today, is a resolution from the commissioners to amend the Grant County Code section and providing. So that's it. That's as clear as I think I can make it in a 10
Just for
word.
information, each year we submit resolutions and ordinances that are adopted by this body and by the county council to confirm that kind of compiles all of our code. That's how it gets updated. We didn't have a record of this body doing that, so that's why we have that down so they can incorporate that.
Taking care of some clerical issues that hadn't been.
This was recommended a couple of years ago.
This was the Plan Commission gave a favorable recommendation as to the town of Jonesboro, who did adopt it on February 19th or February 2019. So yeah, a couple of years ago. Time flies. So it's a resolution that you would be adopting.
Questions? Since Kyle's already walked through this, I'm find it. That forward. What resolution number would we be looking at?
4.
Resolution number 4, 2020. Resolution amending area-wide zoning ordinance. Mr. Burton, do you have any questions before we ask someone for a motion?
No.
Right? I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 4 of 2020.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Burton has seconded. I think we've eliminated most discussion by the information we received. I would say all those in favor of resolution number 4 of 2020 would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we had a phone.
I turned mine down.
It is carried. Thank you. What else do we have, Larry?
Okay, the second item is an information item regarding the position on the Area Plan Commission enabled by state code for the Agricultural Extension Office from the 4-H office. Senate Enrolled Act number 20 from the second regular session of the 121st General Assembly basically states that effective October 1st of 2020, unless and authorized by ordinance for an extension until October 1st, 2021, that the 4-H representative has to be a resident of Grand County. Stephanie McCauley is currently the executor that is the representative on the Area Planning Commission. She is not a resident of Grand County. So there are basically three options that the commissioners who are through the code have. And the one is for you to appoint a resident of the county who is a property owner with agricultural interest every year to be on the Planning Commission. So you could appoint somebody, and then every year you would have to take an action to reappoint. The second option is you could appoint the county surveyor or the county surveyor's designee, who must be a resident of the county, to serve on the Planning Commission. That does not have to be redone every year. The third option is you could, between now and October 1st, 2020, basically get develop an ordinance for an extension until October 1st, 2021. So between now and October 1st, 2020, you would have to pass an ordinance that says we're going to extend the ability of the county educator not to be a resident until 2021, by which time one of the first two things has to be done.
Currently, we do have an individual that we're thinking about an appointment. The surveyor does not want that additional duty added to his work list at this time, so the second option would be off the table. We just have been playing phone tag with this fellow for an interview, so we're at the point where we probably this month can make an appointment. Just have to finalize that.
Okay, well, what I'll do from my end is make a note to bug you about it by middle of August so that October doesn't sneak up on us. I don't know of anything that would happen. The only thing I can see is that there's a possibility that somebody could challenge any decision made after October 1st if this wasn't dealt with correctly. So that's it.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions for Larry? All right, we have our prosecutor, Rodney Faulk. Special request. Prosecutor, if you join us here in the center of the.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have Tyler Keith, the deputy with the Swayze Police Department, with me. Tyler approached me back in December to see if I had any monies to help him purchase a couple of in-car radios. They don't have two in-car radios that work. They only have one, and it sticks going high in volume. And so I went before the county council back in February to establish a fund. It's the Prosecutor Forfeiture and Seizure Fund number 4921. And I'd like authorization from the county commissioners today to use $6,591.62 from that fund. The in-car radios. Tyler got a quote from Motorola. I have copies for everyone.
This fund has already been set up, Rodney.
Yes. It's been set up, and I checked with Felicia this morning at the Gene team. She said we have about $30,000 in the fund. Back as of February 19th, Ron, we had $27,574.35 in the fund. She's added some more money to that. Tyler, can you see any specifics?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your guys' time also to hear this for this issue. A little bit about me specifically. I've been the town marshal for the Swayze Police Department right at about 2 years ago, this July actually. And in that given time, the two vehicles we have, the one vehicle that's a shared full car amongst the four deputies, it does not have a working in-car police radio. So unfortunately, they're stuck to use our portables, which do work, but they're not designed to naturally get out from the metal vehicle. The in-car mounts have an antenna that's exposed to the exterior of the car. That's more opportunity to get out, and then program, people there. That car has not had one in it. The issue with my car radio is approximately 15 years old, I would guess. It won't turn off. So if you take a vehicle to go get work on, it won't turn off. If the car shorts out for some reason, it does shut off. You can't turn it back on until something happens. The electrical circuit gets on. With the new updated radio systems a few years ago, it's unable to get certain codes and things within that radio system for it to work to standards with assisting with the sheriff agency and things like that. I appreciate your guys' assistance in helping make the safety issue go away for our guys.
I can't even fathom being out there without a radio. I personally think it's a no-brainer. I personally think it's a good idea to improve this, and I would make a motion to do so.
Ron's probably, as two-term sheriff, I've seen his deputies in situations where they're 15, 20 miles. They're close as hell. We appreciate that.
We do have a motion to support the request to buy in-car radios in the amount of $6,591.62. Mr. Burton, do you feel like supporting that?
Yes, I'll second that.
Motion with support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. You doing that, Prosecutor. All right, next on our agenda, Tori Williams representing the Equal Justice Initiative. Special request. We'll have you come right on into the circle of influence here, Tori. Bringing a preacher. Uh-oh. We got a preacher with us. Welcome.
Morning, how are you guys doing?
All right.
Very briefly, I just wanted to speak to you guys about what we are requesting today. The Equal Justice Initiative is the home of the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. Represented in that memorial are the victims of racial terror through lynching. Brian Stevenson, the director of the Equal Justice Initiative, states, "Our nation's history of racial injustice casts a shadow across the American landscape. This shadow cannot be lifted until we shine the light of truth on the destructive violence that has shaped our nation, traumatized people of color, and compromised our commitment to the rule of law and to equal justice." This community is a place that well understands the shadow that Stevenson refers to. The lynchings of Abe Smith and Thomas Shipp occurred nearly a century ago, and while there have been efforts to reconcile and to move forward, the shadow still lingers. It becomes even more visible in the moments when our community is grappling with any race-related event. Just a quick Google search of Marion will inevitably bring up the photo of the lynching, and any press this community receives when it's grappling with race relations is inextricably tied to the events of August 1930. The terror that occurred that night nearly a century ago has become a part of the collective identity of this community. Since 2018, communities across the nation have participated in the Equal Justice Initiative's efforts to memorialize victims of lynching through community remembrance projects like soil collection and historical markers. The National Memorial houses jars of soil collected from sites of lynchings around the country. Given the notoriety of what took place here, the fact that Marion is not currently represented draws a lot of attention. In the last 2 years, I've received emails from all over the country, even as far as New Zealand, asking why Marion has not participated yet. The only way that I've been able to respond to that is that we should be one of those communities who participates, and hopefully we will be one day. There's no path to healing or reconciliation without acknowledgement. By participating in the soil collection and eventually a memorial, Grant County would join communities across this country acknowledging their history. For too long, the collective narrative of this city has been one of racism, silence, and violence. We have an opportunity to begin to weave a new chapter with communities across the United States through acknowledgement, remembrance, and collective work. So I'm here today on behalf of the Marion Community Remembrance Coalition, asking permission to collect soil from the courthouse grounds to add Marion to the National Memorial for Peace and Justice.
Questions?
No, I just have a couple of comments. I think it's interesting, and we've worked with the Justice Commission now for some number of months and approved this, and I think it's a positive step in the right direction. I was sharing with some last week. When I was mayor, we had a coming together, if you can be part of that. And Reverend Henson was there. We had young lady's grandfather, I believe, was Cameron came in, Shirley Barber. We had a prayer vigil, if you will, over at City Hall. And people cried, people hugged, people said they loved me, people forgave. And I'm hoping that somehow, some way, we can put that in our past. It's always a part of our past, we can't deny that. So I personally would move to approve the collection of soil, and it'll be transported to
Alabama.
Alabama.
So we have the option of having soil that is here, housed in Marion, and also sent to Alabama. I have 4-year-old sons, and so I think about, I know of what happened with your event because people told me. And so for me, I'd like to have something tangible that if I can't tell my sons what this community did, there's something there that we don't have to tell people what we've done. It's there and you can see it, and it's a beacon for what a community can actually do after experiencing something.
I think you're absolutely right. Every generation has to deal with ugliness, racism, until we come to that and say, you know, sorry, preacher, I'm borrowing something, but when the children of Israel were moving to a certain point, we're told them to stack stones and say, what do these stones mean? These stones mean that we've come to this point. He's helped us up to this far, and we've moved on even from that point. We've got to have some things that establish, hey, we did this. Continually to remind future generations about that through samples and things that we did.
And the beauty of the Equal Justice Initiative is that they don't require you to, they want it to be community owned. And so they also recognize that, you know, reconciliation is a process. And so it's not just a symbolic collection of soil, it's what we do forward as a community, how we have conversations, how we work through these issues. And so it's a chance to be a part of a larger collective conversation that's happening in this community.
When we talked with two of the gentlemen that came up last year from Justice Initiative, they had included the concept that when we received that the ground, there would actually be a ceremony that would be a part of that. And we discussed that. Have y'all got some ideas on how, when that might happen?
We have tons of ideas and a lot of vision for what that could look like. We want to get community input, but honestly, you know, for me, as the coalition liaison to the EJI, I need a yes on whether or not we can collect soil before we plant anything.
Yes, it's coming. I just need to formally vote here. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can't plant anything until I know what we get.
All right, okay, good, believe. I did think I hear you made a motion to that. Okay.
I did.
So Mr. Mowry has already moved to approve the collection of the soil. Mr. Burton, do you want to second that?
Yes, I'll second that.
You didn't, I was, but all right, we have a motion with support to allow the soil sample to be received for the Equal Justice Initiative sample, not only for here locally, but for the museum as well. So any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried unanimously. And we look forward to hearing from you about staging so that we can make this an awesome event.
I appreciate all you're doing. I won't even ask you how old you are, but you're young enough that it's kind of neat to see the youth get involved.
I'm older than I look, so we're gonna just go with that, and I'm gonna leave it. Thank you all.
All right. Okay, we are ready to move to Economic Growth Council and request for application. Mr. Everly is with us.
Good afternoon.
Sir.
Oh, good morning. Excuse me.
Still morning.
We are asking your permission to pursue a grant from the Office of Community and Rural Affairs that will increase our funding in our rural revolving loan fund. There's no obligation to the county. The money comes actually will come to the Growth Council as we do loans. These are businesses that are non-agricultural based and have to have less than 30 employees. Terms and conditions of the loan are pretty much that they'll lay out the grant. They have to have 51% of the jobs created by the total loan pool has to go to a low amount.
We have partnered with Grant County Economic Growth Council for other grants, and once this was initiated, we did have to formally announce it in the papers that we were going to consider this grant. So, if you have any more you want to tell us, and then I'll have the opportunity.
We'll gladly answer any questions you may have.
The last part of the presentation, Jeff, when you say that this money will be used primarily for
Low and moderate income individual jobs, which is an interesting concept. Sometimes it's self-reporting. We do not bear witness to individuals or asked to say what their household income is.
But again, this is a grant. It's coming from a.
It's actually coming. It's federal community development block grant money, so it's coming. It's the your federal tax dollars. I think it's probably a portion of it is in the CARES Act. Those, I mean, so I have no idea where the exact dollar comes from. It's either community development or community development / CARES Act.
And does that rotate at all through the auditor's books?
No.
It would be, once approved, goes directly to you.
Yes, we basically what they will reimburse our revolving loan fund account. We actually have a checking account set up especially for that. We're not allowed to touch it other than do revolving loan projects.
Right.
We've had this since 2004, and we recently we have every indication the U.S. Department of Agriculture Rural Development Agency is also going to increase the amount of money in that fund.
Right. So, just as a matter of formality, this is a public forum regarding the request to sign on this grant. Anyone in the community would like to speak for or against it, this is your opportunity. We'll need you to give your name, your address, and make your comments. Nothing online, no one in the chamber. I will say we're going to close that portion of the public hearing, and we are free to go ahead and approve the grant application if you gentlemen are so inclined.
I would move to approve the grant application as presented.
I'll second.
Motion, Mr. Mowry, second, Mr. Burton. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried.
Thank you very much. Have a marvelous day.
You too. Like your patriotic man.
Long story behind this.
Take care. All right, next up, we have Chris Cunningham, correctional grant application.
One advantage of having big ears, you can hang your mask on. Okay, this is a regular process for us each year. This is our community corrections grant application. I emailed you copies of the application for you to review, copies for Jim for the grant files. What we're asking for today is actually three divisions of the grant. One is the community corrections grant, and that is an amount of $881,128. Our court recidivism reduction grant, which is in the amount of $391,450. And finally, our jail treatment grant, which is in the amount of $52,500. So it's for a total of $1,325,078. And then again, this is all state grant dollars that they provide for the diversion of these offenders. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Like I said, I sent you the big documents, but I thought it'd just be easier if I provided you that one-page summary. really covers everything, but I'll answer any questions you might have.
One question I have is, are we seeing any type of flux in these numbers year to year, more or less, remain the same?
Our grant dollars generally remain the same. Sometimes there's alterations or increases. I think 2 years ago, we received an increase. And then we have strategically moved the grants in different areas. If we see a higher need in a particular area, then we shift dollars to that for the following year. So, but pretty much the dollars stay stable. I am worried about our application for this year because, again, it's all generated by state dollars. So much like you're hearing from schools, and the worry, even though the governor's guaranteed the funds, I really worry about it from a corrections standpoint for us and the possibility of dollars being cut. Luckily for us, we have established project income fees that can help support us in the short term. But we've always done well in these. Ron laid a very good foundation for us in community corrections. So, you know, we were early on, so we've been able to do really well to be able to compete. But I'm worried when I hear things when they're cutting. They're actually telling them to cut 15% of their existing budget now, and because funding comes from the state, I could see that affecting us. Sorry, long answer, but it's kind of a complicated question.
Some of the papers I was looking, I just reviewed that grant. The one that really stood out to me was the jail.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what exactly do you do in that process?
Okay, so the jail treatment grant, which is a good question. What it does is it offers 2 evidence-based programs, MRT, which is moral recognition therapy, and it's a substance abuse thinking and analysis program that they go through. It's based on their ability to achieve different modules. So they go through those, and when they complete those, if they're a sentenced offender, then they're allowed to apply for a time credit. And the court's applying a time credit, but that really works on any of the issues that are around addiction and the thinking that involves it. The other one is seeking safety, and that's primarily the same concept, but dealing with trauma. Research has shown that females generally have a lot of trauma that's related to substance abuse. And so it's a female specific group that deals with those issues related to trauma and addiction. And again, that's all based on how people achieve through each one. So they get a workbook on both of those that they work through together, and discussions that work with those. So we have had to make some COVID changes because of that. The sheriff's really concerned about one, the air handling system it's a mutually shared, so we can't isolate that group. So we're in the process of shifting some dollars to be able to apply for a mobile device that will be able to be located in the block and on a mobile cart where we can move that. So then that way they'll be able to conduct groups. Right now, the groups have been suspended because bringing people into the jail isn't something that we can do, and we really don't have a mobile setup for a treatment group that we can do. So sheriff's already approved it. We've sent it off to Marcus. By the way, Marcus and his group, I can't echo enough how supportive they've been for us. We had to go completely mobile, seeing high risk, high needs offenders in the community. We still weren't able to get away from field visits because they've got to be seen, but him and his crew, I mean, just stepped in and helped us with all kinds of things that we had to do to be able to see people. Any other questions on that, Ron?
Who do that in-house?
Milestone does that for us. Milestone does that for us. One of the requirements from the state is they have to be a certified provider, and right now for us, that's our option is only Milestone. But they've done a great job with their groups, and it's been a great partnership between us, the sheriff, and Milestone.
Mike, any questions from your side?
No, Chris did a good job of explaining it.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's on the big paperwork. This is January through December.
Correct. Calendar year grant. Calendar year grant. They switched that 2 years ago. So I'll be coming in, I'll be going to the council whenever we get our what our final grant totals are and get that. One of the things that when Mike was there and now with Jim is getting that budget approved and into the county record. So
I would entertain a motion to approve the Community Corrections 2021 grant as submitted.
I would move to approve the community corrections grant application.
I'll second.
Motion, Mr. Mowry, second, Mr. Burton. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carried. Unanimously.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
You have a letter.
All right. Now Kathy Foy wants to talk to us. Can you believe that? The recorder wants to talk to us now? Been tenderly, patiently waiting.
Yes. I'll try to hurry because okay, I have two approvals for agreements that I have to turn back in signed. The first one is for the place that's going to store my microfilm rolls, and our old software vendor had them and then sent them all to me beginning of the year. So now I need a place, because right now they're just upstairs. I need a place off-site to store them in case something happens here with a fire. We need our backup reels. So that's the first one, and it's going to cost around probably $1,500 a year to pay them to store it. That's the first one from US Imaging that I just need you guys to approve for. The second one is my big project where I'm digitizing all the microfilm from 1967 to 1993. We finally got everything in order, ready to digitize everything to make the access better for searchers from home and the public. And it's a lot of money, but I have plenty in my perpetuation fund to pay for it.
How much?
You want to guess?
Too much.
Yeah, too much.
I'm seeing a number, I can't believe it.
Yeah, $256,322.
That you got a perpetuation from.
My perpetuation fund has 477,000 and some the chunk in it. So I have plenty to do it.
Forgive me for not reading the hourly. Is this a one-time fee or is this something that's?
Yes, this is one time, and they can break it down. Like I can pay like 25% of it when this step's done, the rest when this step, and the final one. But I mean, I have the money, so I might as well give it to them. But that's just a one-time fee to get everything in the computer. Back to 67.
Forgive me for asking probably silly questions, but are we mandated by this from the state? We have to do something like this, or is this our initiative that we're doing on our?
It's not mandated by the state, but it is. Most all the counties have everything digitized back way further than we do. And I hear complaints from the searchers that come in that, you know, you're the only county I have to go to because I can't get it online and all that. So it's just something to make easier access for the community and the searchers to digitize everything.
What was interesting too in the campaign, your opponent kind of made some issues with that.
Yeah.
I was just waiting to see what Justin said.
He
I'm
don't
sorry,
count. He don't count.
He doesn't count.
We don't listen to him. Yeah, and this is something that we have been in the works to get together for months. And like you said, my opponent said that would be her first thing, the first month she was in office to do, and it's a long process.
Now it's your first thing.
Yes.
I guess my other question is, have we run these contracts by our attorney?
Yes, and he approved them. In the one for the digitizing, he only questioned where they broke it down. It didn't add up to the 256,000 because there was a typo, or I think they copied it from something else. But they're fixing that and emailing it to me today. But yes, Kyle is my attorney for the recorder's office, and he approved both of them.
So I see your name is on this, so basically we need to approve these contracts and authorize the recorder to act on behalf of the county.
Yes.
Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion.
And I would second that.
Mr. Burton moved to approve both contracts supported by Mr. Mowry, and all in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. And you are free to go ahead and sign those and get those.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now I gotta go to council and see if I want to.
All right. Jim, we have a little bit of just a little bit of accountability work here to do with the covered bridge certification. We do have that in here. Do you have a formal copy, or is this copy okay to sign? You have a formal copy? All right. We just want to acknowledge for the record that we have one covered bridge in Grant County, located in Matthews. And is there any other item on that document that we need to acknowledge? So basically, for the state of Indiana, we, the commissioners of Grant County, hereby certify the aforementioned true number of covered bridges per IC code in the calendar year 2020. We'll date it and say we've got one, and everybody will be happy then in Grant County and in the state of Indiana. So, since it's just an acknowledgement piece, I'll go ahead and sign it once you sign through. How's that?
I think it's interesting, when we created, if you will, the inmate work, that was one of the first projects that they did. They completely refurbished the exterior and painted it. It's quite an asset to Grant County. I visit it every year.
A couple of years since I've been over there.
We like doing it.
All right, we have done that. And Mr. Burton, with your permission, we will stamp your name on there as well.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
Josh, you can get that to me later. I'll go ahead and submit it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
We have our 911 director who is coming to work on IDAX coordinator status. Michael, how are you today, sir?
All right, how are you?
I think I got some gray hair.
Collecting some. So the reason I'm up here is it's just basically I need to solidify the pay status of my IDAX coordinator operations manager. If we didn't somehow in the paperwork shuffle of trying to get everybody on board and whatnot, we didn't do this. So what I'm looking to see is a move for making her status non-exempt. Excuse me. Which I believe falls within what we've established at the other levels as well.
There had been a question whether this position was going to be exempt or not exempt. He's the only exempt position in the department as it was originally established. We just need to confirm that a secondary position is a non-exempt status. Available to work overtime hours, be paid for overtime. So we would have to formally move to make the operations manager / IDAX coordinator a non-exempt full-time employee.
I'm assuming that's your recommendation, Ed?
Yes, please.
Mr. Mowry has moved to make the operations manager, IDAX coordinator for the public safety communications central dispatch a full-time non-exempt employee. Have that motion, Mr. Burke, are you willing to second?
Yes, I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing,
I'll just add that it was reviewed by attorney. So.
Okay. And that was also the recommendation of policy board. All right, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried unanimously. Thank you, sir. Any updates you want to throw out about Central?
Oh, let's see, last month, preliminary numbers, we took 13,000 phone calls, about 9,000 button pushes for the radio system. And that's just preliminary numbers because I have not been able to, any way, shape, or form, get into those numbers and see what was double, what was not. But 13,000 calls, that's a lot. Prior to the centralization of the 3 dispatches, I believe that number was actually split about 7,000 and 5,000. So, and those are, again, rough, very rough numbers. Couple events we had since go live is 3 days in. We had storms roll through straight, what was reported by Bob Jackson, our EMA director, is straight line winds. Our center, I haven't gotten the call count for that specific time period, but I imagine we've at least had over 100 calls for service and probably at least 200 phone calls in that time frame of about 1:45 in the afternoon to 6 p.m. in the evening. Then last Tuesday, we had a power outage in Gas City in which under the old system, the residents of Gas City would call into the center or into the police department dispatch to report the outage. Police dispatch would then contact their utilities department to handle the power outage. Since we've gone central, we received a lot of those calls. Again, we don't have the numbers from that one yet. We're still working on getting into our phone system and getting comfortable with pulling those numbers. But we received a lot of calls, and I was still there that night when that happened. So the director was sitting on a console with all 4 of his dispatchers, grabbing a phone. Yes, we're aware of the power outage. Click, grab the next one. Yes, we're aware of the outage. My crew's done great though in those times, and really all across the board. They've been with COVID. We weren't able to do a whole lot of training. We weren't able to get the familiarity of the 2 departments, the major departments that we brought together. So with that, my crew has done an outstanding job of just trying to roll with the punches and really just, as we see it, and my supervisors, my ops have been instructed, if you see something, you know how to correct it, let me know what the outcome is. But also, coming across an issue that nobody fathomed and rolling with it and kind of, hey, we need a decision on this or something like that. So.
Any questions?
No, I mean, in a power outage, you were getting those calls?
Yes, sir. Because under the old system, they would call the police department. That's the point of contact for all the different utilities, the sewer, water, gas, electric, for Gas City. So I found that we probably spoke to a third of the city of Gas City on the last Tuesday night between our 5 dispatchers. So, but we're working through those issues as well too. We realize that's going to be an issue, and we can't tie up those lines just for a power outage. Now, if there's lines down where it's threatening a house or, you know, somebody isn't trapped in a car, obviously we want that phone call. But just because the power is out and, hey, how do you know when it's going to be restored? Not a 911 or non-emergency central dispatch issue. So, but we're working with Gas City to kind of figure this out too. So.
You even have to go to some type of an educational thing, because usually when you have power outage, you don't report it to the city, you report it to the power, you know, grid. That being Duke over there is probably a little bit more unique than AEP or Indiana Michigan Electric.
And it was a first for me, I'll be very honest. I was like, why are they all calling? It's an AEP. No, they have their own utilities. Okay. So that was one of the things wasn't even on the roadmap of, you know, things we needed to address, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, so we have this. And so I have to go visit the covered bridge though this weekend too. Yes, sir.
I'd like to come through your place. I'm free from now till 1:30. What's the best time for you? And how do I get into the place?
So on each of we have a little placard on each of our doors that has a phone number you call down to dispatch, and they can actually open the doors. Now we have construction going on over there today. So there's guys in and out and all that, but just give me a holler and
it doesn't have to be today. I mean, I was ill when council came through but I want to see it.
Absolutely.
Completed.
Right. So, end of the week.
So I should wait a week, huh? Should I wait a week? Well,
I'll be there at least this week.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got a couple of items housekeeping wise for us. Review of Executive Order 2020-610. During the pandemic and things were changing, there were some requirements that the state made that required us to be monitoring our people. And in fact, it looks like we're going to, for the next 2 weeks, have to figure out again how to monitor our people coming in, take their temperatures, make sure that they are coming to work in a healthy condition. But with regard to that executive order, I issued creating a temporary position at the front desk to make sure that temperatures were taken, and this was related to the COVID-19 pandemic. All wages for that part-time position we developed would be paid by the CARES Act or FEMA once restrictions have been limited. The position is to be dissolved, which it was dissolved last week because we thought we were moving to a full 5 and total openness again, only to be challenged by the new back to on track 4.5, which requires we still take our temperature. So we'll be moving back to something for the next 2.5 weeks to monitor our folks. And again, we have 2 part-time positions we have to do for the courthouse, because they are anticipating under court order and direction by the Indiana Supreme Court that temperatures and maps are taken and provided there as well. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and technically with individual executive order for the president, the vice president, and the other member of the commissioners should say, yeah, you did a good thing, or smack my hand, and then we'll go from there. So
let me think about this.
So we either need to ratify that executive order or put me in timeout for a while.
I would move to ratify.
Motion to ratify Executive Order 2020-6-10. Is that okay with you, Mike?
Yes, I second.
You second that? All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Second up on our housekeeping items, as you recall, we had vetoed a nomination from the county council regarding the Economic Development Commission. The president of the council has reviewed and sent a new name to us, Mr. David Morgan III, who is a Grant County farmer, young farmer with a family, and his recommendation comes with some enthusiasm from a couple different farmers as well as county employees. So that name is put before you. We currently have Eric Waltz and Kim Street as appointments, and this would serve as a appointment from, a nomination from the county council, and we have the right to, again, either adopt that as our appointment, or we can send it back for another nominee if you so desire.
I don't know the family personally, but I've heard nothing but good reports. If that's the recommendation of the council, particularly Shane, I would say that we should move to approve that appointment DDC.
And I'll second that.
That was a motion, Ron?
Yes, yes.
And Mike supported it. Very good. All those in favor of appointing, I had it right here in front of me. David Morgan III as the nominee from the council. All in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Also have a resolution that our HR director, myself, and Mr. Persinger had worked on while we have been wrestling with issues of COVID and individuals that are employees that could, or some have had already, the virus. The particular act by the federal government allows for 2 weeks of payment for the salary of an individual who is sick and or taking care of a family member who is sick related to the virus. We found out that one of our employees was getting ready to go over a 2-week period because they had not yet tested 2 negatives, finding out from the healthcare side of things that it's possible that you can actually continue to have the COVID virus, even though you've gone through all those things that are symptomatic, but still be weak enough in your immune system to have it in your system for 40 days. So the thought process that we had was to amend our personnel policy handbook that would say that we would use the federal funding for 2 weeks. And if I'm saying this wrong, Justin, please jump in. But we made the provision here as an amendment that should you continue to have that COVID virus and still have not tested negative twice, that the county would continue to pay their salary so that there would not be a loss due to this virus at this time. Kind of seen other counties, other states, and the federal suggest but not require it. So we felt it was important to take care of our people in the midst of this pandemic. I bring that to you for your consideration, see what you and Mike want to do about that. It's not a requirement. We'll say that right up front, but should we have a employee or so that still is testing positive, has not gone through 2 negatives, that's something we can consider. And we don't even have to act on that today if you want. So we can take it as an option. We can table it and fill over it some more. If you or Mike feel like we need to drive it, that's fine. But at least it's on the table for us to consider as an option to take care of our employees.
I personally would like to consider it, but take it under advisement right now. I don't know how Ron feels, but.
That's fine with me.
I would concur with that, Mike.
All right, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and bring it back next regular session, discuss it further. We may have some more good data information as we get closer to that meeting. So that is fine with me. All right, we're ready to move to Pyramid Consulting now. We have Todd's with us, not Terry. Review of pay requests and construction update.
I think pay requests were just standard things, that I submitted that should have gone through the rest of your claims. I think.
Two separate ones, just up for review.
Yeah, so we've got $104,000 claim and an $18,000 claim. It looks like it finishes off. I think these are probably all finals. I do have, well, with the exception of the flooring, I've got flooring and painting continuing on. This week, the carpet arrived. The carpet, as you may recall, didn't pass quality control. They tossed that lot and remade carpet for us. So it arrived Friday. It's downstairs. That's why I didn't suggested not visiting today, because I've got loose cut pieces of carpet all over through the hallways. There's really not a clean way to get in and out. And we're working on the back stairwell. I've got most of the holes patched there. I got a coat of paint on it. Looking good. I've got a few little electrical things. I just sent a note to Collins Electric about seeing if we can't kill some conduits, get them out of the way before we finish that off. By the end of this week, it'll be substantially complete. Flooring will be down. I'm not sure if we'll have all of the base up, the final base around all of the floors or not. We'll be basically complete this week. We've been talking with Dawn, the cleaning gal, about doing the power clean once we get everything done. The flooring guys made a mess, laying their self-leveling material down and then grinding and sanding and everything. It was just, there's dust everywhere. So Dawn's going to come in with a crew and do a good cleanup on everything once this flooring is done. So we're thinking we could have Bob out of your way by mid-month. Give us this week to finish the work, next week to clean up, and should be good to go.
So with regard to those items, is there a portion we should pay, or should we?
No, these are just standard monthly bills, get them paid. My contractor's happy and coming back.
Okay.
You've got some technology stuff there with that second one. Oh, the yellows, I think, are.
Is that what your question is?
The highlights.
As long as we're good to go to pay.
We've reviewed all of these, we've certified them. These both are good to go.
I received an email just for this number 6. I didn't get number 7. So I haven't seen after this now. If I got it, I missed it. But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, on that second listing, packet number 7 shows payment to Elwood Fire Equipment Company, $961.08.
Yes.
I believe that's already been paid. Separately. I believe I'm almost at my lifetime life.
It seems like we did it as a standalone.
Yeah, I've had them in a couple of times to help me get past the.
But what I pointed out is I want to make sure that's not one that's already paid. If it was that same amount, I'm sure.
Now that you say that,
I think it's been paid. You have something noted COVID-19 costs. That's a separate
6.5. Well, this was work completed 6.5. I don't think, publish?
You will check, but that's
Okay,
me.
well,
I'm close to 99.99.
Okay. Yeah, that was some extra stuff. I've had them in a couple times. They came in once, to
This
do.
will be the second time we paid them something. We paid them 2 invoices. This is the second.
Okay, well, I've had them in twice.
One was a while back.
Right. So I'll work with you on that.
You have one under here, professional services, COVID-19 costs. Is that a separate, is it part of another contract we already got, or what is that?
No, that's an extra month, to get things finished up. That, basically pay for an extra month to get things finished.
Is that in addition to a contract we have in place already then? It should be like a change order to a contract, is what I'm seeing.
I think, yeah.
I.e., you would have been done earlier if COVID wasn't here, and so that expanded or elongated your services due to that
Right.
situation.
Yeah. And we're showing it as part of that contract, $164,000 as part of that. I know we have one set up for that amount. So we're paying the $20,500 as part of that. You got some miscellaneous reimbursements.
All right, other questions or anything else we need to be doing today? What do you got?
No.
Just quick comment, as far as the post-construction.
Put her on notice. Okay. Put her on notice. I checked with those guys this morning and said they brought everything in, got everything laid out. They're planning on doing that.
Okay. Couple of things you mentioned. The flooring, I think partially answered. I used to lay carpet. The leveling would make it awfully difficult for us to tile. It'd be much easier. You don't want you want carpet.
Yeah. We had carpet in the offices and in the, I was thinking in your EOC, it might have been tile originally.
I think originally it was tile.
And once, as we had the flooring guys come in and look at it, all of them said, oh, this must be a nightmare trying to get this cleaned up well enough to CT on. That's why we switched a lot of it to carpet.
How many local carpet bidders?
That was another one where we had no bidders. We had a guy down Struck or Stop or Staggs was down, did some leveling for us in order to get door frames in. We paid them through the J.G. Bowers contract. And then we told them, okay, well, we're going to bid this out. And none of them bid. And then, but that was in the thick of the COVID. These guys were all shut down. So we went out and we took quotes. You guys allowed us to go out and do quotes. Keeley's flooring is the contractor that was the lowest on those quotes. But we had Staggs, Keeley's, and Morrell.
We have Morrell, we have Kyle's MAB. They do a lot of flooring. In fact, they've done all of our flooring here and bid it in as cheaper than anybody would get, really. See the quality of it, of course. I'm just curious. I really like to use local people.
Yeah. Keeley's is local. Yeah, they're here in the county, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They actually did some work for me.
Oh, did they?
For my house.
I think it did some work for Bob.
I didn't see you sitting back there, Bob. We're kind of anxious for you to get Bob out of it.
I've heard that, and I'm doing all I can to get him on that. So we're close.
Now, I wanted to touch base with you as well on the plumbing issues we had. Do you have a bid that tells what people that did that plumbing going to do?
Yeah, we've got the original scope, and then I've got the value engineering scope that I mentioned in my note to you. then basically what we cut about 50% of that new drain out. Instead of going from one end of the building to the other, cutting slabs and installing new drains, we tied it into the existing drain that was there. And was that drain that had the scale in it that was able to get caught up with.
The reason I asked that question is that the problem we had over there last week, when we started getting vibes that they were going to have to cut in and floor and disturb the new application process. That concerned me. And then, of course, the truck came in, poured it out. He had questions that I would just like that. I'd like to be able to clarify my own mind. How much of that was to be replaced in the bid? So we can compare what they said they would do and what they did.
Well, so there's two parts to that. One is the original specs with specs and drawings, which were bid out. And that had a new line running from the dispatch restrooms all the way to the station. That bid, even though he was the lowest bidder, Precision Mechanic, no, I'm sorry, not Precision, Benchmark Mechanical out of Kokomo, even though they were the lowest, they were still over the engineer's estimate. So we asked them to do value engineering. So then we looked through where we could further reduce costs. One of those was, well, don't saw cut all the way from one end of the building to the other, tied into an existing line. That was about 50% reduction in the amount of drain pipe. Got about halfway where we were able to tie in.
And you mentioned the pits. We have to lift out of the basement into now. I was talking to Vince this morning, and he was concerned that those pumps, they tried to kick them on, one of them hummed, the other didn't do anything. He thought that should have been done before anything else. You have a thought on that?
There's a grinder pump in it that is there, that is operational. The original two pumps were large pumps, called the red pipes back there on that little station. That's on our list for that phase 2. It's something that you ought to look at. It's overhauling those. But that was beyond our project budget to get dispatch up and going. The pump that was there was sufficient. I got a backup for it, sitting there, so that if the pump that was there fails, we can toss a new one in the pit. For what Vince and I were talking about, sketching into your project scope for your phase 2 is get in there, overhaul both of those pumps, the original pumps, which were large, and get them both updated and operational, and then use the grinder that is there as a backup for that.
Those pumps have been sitting for years.
Those pumps are 100 years old.
Yeah. Almost. But I was just curious. I think we need to rebuild or repair those.
Yeah.
Because that's a safe way to do things.
Yeah.
Save us in the long run.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. I have 2 other items, but this is a public forum, and if you'd like to address the Board of Commissioners, we invite you to step to the microphone, present your name, your address, and your concerns or comments. Hearing none. Next meeting will be July the 20th at 10 a.m. And because of the extension of the state of emergency, the governor allows us to use the WebEx as part of our meetings. So this will be online as well as in person for those that can join us. Do want to just report to Mr. Burton and Mr. Mowry that we did turn in our budget items, and we have a copy in the office if you want to look at things like that, and get ready for
budget discussions with the council here in the next month and a half.
Will we be discussing budget items and all, Lindsay? That primarily.
Yeah, if it is, it'd be more of a sideline, political discussion. I think you're really just talking about what items do you want to pursue, and with those items, how you want to pay for it. Basically, what it is. That could get budgetary conversation. That's my understanding.
Yes, that's what I would.
How long do you anticipate?
How much do you want to talk?
I don't know.
I vote for as short as possible.
Me too. We've got an 8 o'clock meeting scheduled for area plan on an evaluation and executive meeting. And they're gonna come in and wait on us. Just what's going.
You'd hope from 6 to 8, it starts at 6, so you'd hope you'd be done by 2 hours. But I mean, I don't know. Obviously, you've got several items you want to consider as far as project potential items. But then the concepts of, do you want to do them or do you not want to do them? That could be quick. I mean, I don't know. That's if you think of it as you've got a lot of people, you got a lot of opinions. I don't know if you're going to make any decisions that night, but you're going to be discussing those options that night.
I think we discuss the options. I don't think we make a hair trigger decision on Wednesday night.
Let me ask you, is Mr. Stevenson or Mr. Mercer going to be there?
I know that Kyle is on vacation.
So my thought is that maybe Phil at least ought to be there just because some questions may come up as far as what's the process needed to accomplish this kind of thing. We're going to issue a bond. What are we looking
I
at?
hope Phil could be available.
I know I sent him the agenda.
I was gonna say, when you.
He was copied when I sent the agenda. I haven't heard anything back from him, but he's usually at council meetings, but this is a special joint session, so.
You want to follow up with him?
Yeah, I can make sure he's there.
Okay.
Lastly, Jim, you're gonna send that letter to 10th Street.
Yeah, I'm going to check, see what happened there.
And also to Morgan.
Yeah,
You'll take
we will send, yeah. In fact, I need to get an address about Morgan. I don't have an address from him yet. I'll give it to Shane to determine what that address is. And he had some questions, was it David Morgan third or not, but we'll make sure the right person needed an address.
I can tell you his age and that he's young, married with 2 kids.
I know my daughter's Shane's age.
Okay.
But they're in the same class. I don't know him personally.
I would say he's a third.
Could be a 4th, you know. But yeah, we'll have to verify that address.
All right. I think I've got all our business done. Anything else? Once, twice? We're in recess. Thank you.
No more comments. And we need to check that Elwood fire